Okay. As promised, we are back. Let me set the title and such. Oops. Where's the thing? There. We're good. X is clean. Okay. Impulse Wars is just like one of those examples of a project that was taken like 80% of the way there, but then like ended up not getting used super often because of some very, very small things that could have been avoided. So this one's worth spending a little time. A lot of new M's. Make sure this is actually... Yeah, it's a clean port. Simple env. Not bad. Okay. Yeah, Impulse Wars is annoying because it's the only env where the author just insisted on having a CMake system, and it was always a pain because of that. And the guy said, like, oh, well, you could just use CMake for all your envs, but, like, no, dude. Like, why the hell should we need CMake for all the M's when it's literally like a one line with Clang or GCC for everything else? Right? I'm fine with this. How old are you? 29. Going on 30 here. Lights out. I reviewed this, right? This was clean. Simple env. Good job to author. Oh, dude, I've been like going on 80 for years. I'm so old. Just gotta stay fit. Okay. MIT. Stanford undergrad, MIT for PhD. My thesis was on massively multi-agent simulation and intelligence. Essentially, what if RuneScapes or World of Warcraft, but RL? What does that mean for learning? What does that mean for infrastructure? What does that mean for what we can discover? What does that mean for how we design our approaches? And now I'm essentially taking all that information from making RL work on really crazy problems and using it to make RL work just about everywhere and be very, very fast. Amazing contest. This one's weird. I haven't reviewed this one. It's a big env. I definitely don't want to be working for any companies. Thank you very much. I have my own. Puffer is a small private RL lab. And I pretty much just want to be left to my own devices to make as large of breakthroughs as I can with a small team. It's been going pretty well so far. Been going pretty well. Oh, it is a tower defense. That's weird. I didn't realize that whatsoever. It really didn't look like a tower defense to me. Don't have big background. I make my own tech syrup. Well, I mean, you should start from learning some things, right? If you're second year in CS, the best piece of guidance I can give you, if you go to my X page here on a browser that's logged in, hang on. So look, if you go over here to the articles tab, this is all my research, but then also this article right here. This is your best friend. This is like how to actually learn core tech fundamentals that matter and how to not get distracted by dumb bullshit. Why do I stream these? Hold myself accountable? No, not remotely. To entertain myself, for the most part. And because all my stuff is open source, the community tends to find it helpful. Because let's say that you're building an environment for Puffer or trying to use Puffer on something, it's all like open source, right? What's easier, right? Like trying to figure out who the heck you can ask to like figure out how this crazy library works, or oh, the guy that built it's nuts and just streams dev constantly. Makes it pretty easy, right? And because of streaming and because of all the new people that have gotten into Puffer because of this, we've gotten tens of thousands of lines of PRs of new environments and quite a bit of open source contribution to the library that's been very helpful. Huh. Interesting. How's the code quality here? It looks cool. What internship have you worked for? I haven't taken any in a while. I started my PhD work originally at OpenAI, like in 2018 or something. It was a really cool place back then, not so much anymore. Oof. How old is this PR? Uh-huh. Ooh. Semi-competent? Wait, I'm trying to see how competent the person who did this was. Semi-competent. Decent. Not great, but decent. Some sort of newbie things. What the hell? Okay, so that was my own bug. Did he intentionally do that? What are your thoughts on using AI to code? I hate it. It's like honestly pretty annoying. But I use it a lot for like maintenance and stuff. Um, oh yeah, and for you, for people who are relatively new to CS, the last thing you need to be doing is doing like super heavy AI dev. You need to go, like, write some C by hand, my friend. I genuinely can't tell at a glance how bloated this thing is. 1,500 lines. 30%? Okay, interesting. Primary language? See if I can. I really like C. But for Puffer, it's a mix of C and CUDA. Or the noob things. Oh, I mean, I'm just, like, looking at stuff, like, having gigantic they're just, like, a lot of tells. Like, just having gigantic, like, super deeply nested code with ifs, where you could, like, short circuit early. Um, Having, like, crazy super long lines for, like, stuff that could obviously very easily be split out. Um, I look for, like, AI, like, things that look really heavily AI gen. I don't see any of that here. I think this PR was from before people were widely using AI models for coding. I don't this okay, this is AI gen, but this is AI gen from the port, not from the original code. I'm mostly like if I'm just skimming that quickly though, I'm pretty much just looking at like basic control flow pattern mess ups. What am I doing now? So this is the pre-release phase, let's call it, for Puffer 5.0. So we have a big release coming out soon, right? And I'm pulling in now like 15-ish new environments written by contributors. That's a lot of code to triage, and a lot of it is targeted at an old version of Puffer and needs to be upgraded to our latest API. And a lot of it has like subtle bugs. So I'm essentially semi-automatically going through and having Grok look for all the patterns I know for like common errors that people make. I'm going through and looking for common patterns that I know LLMs screw up and making sure that the LLM hasn't messed up all the nice code. And I also have this thing has access to a 8 GPU box. So I'm also having this thing orchestrate some test runs to make sure that everything is training correctly and building new binaries for our website. So whole bunch of stuff. But this is considered for me, this is like generally pretty brain dead, easy routine work. Um, the stuff that's a lot more interesting is like the detailed research work that I do or the heavy performance engineering that I do for the core of Puffer. Those tend to be the more interesting sessions. This weekend, since I have the weekend to myself and we're very close to release, I'm kind of just marathon streaming until I have the entire pre-release done, which is why I'm pulling a lot of hours. I think we can get it all done this weekend, though. I think we can get it all done. Okay. When did I start coding? What age? I don't know, like 11 or 12, maybe 13 or 14, actually making some real things. And then probably like 16 before anything that I wrote wasn't complete and utter crap. Long-term vision for Puffer. We are going to make reinforcement learning sane, stable, and consistent. It is going to be a mature area of AI that just works out of the box on a huge range of problems and is so fast that you can train models for specific tasks at home on a single GPU. We're actually most of the way there. Like, I think we're like probably 75% of the way there, actually. I've been working on this for 3 years. I think basically we have it within the next year. I can show the code base real quick. Check this out. So this is the highest performance reinforcement learning code base in existence by about 3 orders of magnitude. As of, well, ignore this. This is getting deleted. But, and this is also 400 lines of LLM bloat that I have to delete. Stupid LLMs. So this is only 10K lines. Like the entire core, it took a long time to get it to be this short. It's only 10K lines. The core training and everything, no PyTorch, everything from scratch in CUDA C is only 5K lines. It's this pufferl file and then this algo file. And then we have our own visualization toolkit, which is one file, 1600 lines. We have our own CPU eval infrastructure. This is the thing the LLM bloated. It should only be about 1,000 lines. And then we have our own env API, and we have protein, which is our hyperparam sweeps, pretty much everything. How many hours do I code per week? Like, I don't know, anywhere from 20 to 90. It really depends, man. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to learn, we've literally had high school students contribute environments to Puffer. Obviously, the high end of all the research stuff that we do takes quite a bit of experience to get into. But honestly, like, programming reinforcement learning environments is kind of just like doing low-level game development. You can make something meaningful in only a couple hundred lines of code, and you can train it at home. Good way to learn some low-level dev. It's a good way to get some exposure to RL. And some of the environments even end up being directly useful in research, believe it or not. It's actually pretty hard to anticipate upfront the types of environments that are going to be very helpful. Getting into Fang, I think you might end up being a little bit disappointed. You can definitely do that just by like conventional computer science education and learning how to prep for interviews and stuff. But like the average Fang employee is an absolutely terrible engineer. Like I wouldn't even want the average Fang engineer touching our code base. Let alone be like, you know, actually trying to be one of the major people doing anything. Big tech in general is just very, very low quality eng. Typically small teams within big companies, and then specific startups tend to be much better. How much am I coding versus how much the agent am I doing? All right, this is always the question that new people ask. Like, look, this is maintenance work, okay? I wrote this env here by hand in like 2 or 3 hours. And this env is like our minimal demonstration env that we use. Do I have a demo of it? No, I don't. This is an even simpler one. It's basically a fancier version of this, where the RL agents go around and eat targets and stuff. You can get an agent to do the same thing, but it'll write much, much worse code. So I tend to do pretty much all the sim dev pretty much by hand. Core infrastructure stuff, it's mixed. Like the very important bits I end up doing by hand. Things that are less important or experimental, I will sometimes prototype with an agent and then very, very heavily refactor. My general take, though, is that the The LLMs write absolutely terrible code, but that doesn't mean that they're not useful. But you get the idea of Mang or Fang at the point as we're talking about big tech. Yeah, I know the companies, like, even those are overrated for enjoyment and work. Like, all of those people like, all those companies have some good people somewhere, but if you're just looking at, like, the average person on your team, if you just join, they will be incredibly stupid and very bad at programming. OpenAI, actually, funny enough, when I was there and it was only 100 people, it was by far the best place I've ever worked. Like, it made the average person at Stanford and the average person at MIT look like a complete imbecile. But that's when it was 100 people. You don't grow to be 1,000 people and keep that talent density. Like, there aren't any companies with 1,000 people where everyone's just smart. You can't find that many smart people in one place. Next.js and Java literally teaches you negative programming. Do not touch those. I learned Java as my first real programming language, and it literally took me years to unlearn the garbage that teaches you. Become good? No, it's not natural talent. I did it for, like, freaking 15 years, and very, very slowly over time. Like, I learned that a lot of the things that are typically taught about how to program inevitably lead to pain and suffering, and you writing terrible code that you have to deal with. Um, and then eventually you find, like, people actually writing good stuff, and you see that things are done very differently. Not everyone can be an ML. Everyone can be ML. So, doesn't mean I can't think of a single project that I'd ever say, ah, yes, Java. That's what we should use for this. Like, Java, the reason Java got so popular in the first place, it was because it was the first mass marketed programming language. It was mostly advertising money. The language is awful. Language I recommend. If you're early on learning to program, I would highly recommend you learn C. Because the thing is, when you understand low-level programming, like every other language feature that exists, you can understand how it works and how you would implement it, and you can actually think of whether that language feature is even something that you need. Like, oh, concurrency. Like, well, I could implement my own, and most of the time, I don't actually even want it when people would be using it. Key factor, hierarchical RL, or stick with. Hey, welcome. HRL typically just doesn't work, unfortunately. I am not aware of any HRL approaches that actually do what is advertised. It's mostly results just being inflated on paper that don't generalize. Um, there are a couple of architectures that I have wanted to try out, mostly like long and short time horizon stacked recurrent nets. But I think the heavier algo changes that I've seen definitely don't work, unfortunately. I know there's a lot of lit on the topic, but this is true of a lot of areas of RL. C is not useful. Oh my gosh, guy. You don't like the funny thing is I like people will send me crap in Python. I will write it in C. It will be the exact same amount of code as what they send me, and mine will run 1000x faster. I'm not gonna try to be mean here, and I'm not gonna argue with you, but there's seriously some stuff you've got to reconsider. I probably wouldn't have listened to me when I first started either, but like, if I had listened, it would have saved me many, many years. If you want the proof, just look at some of the stuff I've built and look how compact and efficient it is, and think how the hell you would do that in any, like, how the hell you would do that in any other language. Who do you follow for publications? In RL specifically, it's mostly dried up, to be honest with you. Jacob Forster's lab still has some good stuff coming out. Eugene Vaninsky's lab still has some stuff coming out. In robotics specifically, there's still a couple good labs, not so much in general RL. But our whole field's gotten brain drained by all the LLM companies, unfortunately. Like, all the people that I used to really respect in RL, they're no longer doing RL, which sucks. It really sucks. Okay, so industry might have gone. See, that's kind of weird. When was that? Because like there's zero money right now in RL. Well, not zero. Like Puffer is still profitable. We have clients and such, but compared to language models, it's so little. And it actually works now is the crazy thing. Like we can spin up new sims on new problems for people in a period of weeks, and we can just train them at the scale of hundreds of billions of steps quite easily. So stuff actually does work now. It just turns out that the approach that was being used back when RL was in vogue, um, it was very heavily focused on algorithms and algorithmic innovations to the detriment of infrastructure. 6 months ago. Nah, he's wrong. Look, Ilya's a very, very smart guy. Um, you can tell that when he was at OpenAI. Like, he was like one of the coolest people to talk to at OpenAI, honestly. I remember one day he asked me like, "What do you think about Alec Radford's like language model? What do you think about this GP like this transformer thing and compression as an objective for intelligence?" And I remember telling him that I think it's great. I think it'll go very far, but I think you're still going to need RL. You need interactivity. And now they're doing RL on language models, right? But it's very, very weak RL and it's very slow. And that doesn't seem to be going away. I hope he does well as well. I hope he does well too. I hope he's doing something really cool there. Okay, this is fine. Oh, of course we're using standard lib. Wait, are we? I'm wondering if without the allocations, if it's still there. Oh, Randar, duh. Jeppa, maybe. My general take on world models is like they're cool. I don't think they're cool for in the loop RL for the type of stuff I do. Um, the best known paper in that space is Borderline Fraud, not Jeppa, other one. Um, and they're very, very slow, and fundamentally, it seems like you can't fix that. Like, fast on-pol RL seems to be the thing that works. Oops. Next env. MOBA, we need to do more for. I did fix double pendulums. I haven't actually looked at it, but it seems we have like a score of 1. I did pull your your fix in. Thank you. No, it's totally orthogonal. I mean, maybe little bits of what I do could, to be fair, but like the problem with LLMRL is they don't train value functions. They can't. It's basically like RL with an utterly stupid action space. And the algorithms that they're coming up with to try to get around that are so horrendously inefficient. They're just essentially lighting money on fire at a crazy rate to try to force it to work. Beating floating point. Positive arithmetic. I don't know anything about that. Hardware vendors should. Yeah, that's kind of like outside of my domain. I think what's going to happen is we're going to turn this into a self-play env. But not yet. Not yet. So that one we know. NetHack. NetHack, we can pull in Finn's latest. Closet arithmetic. I don't know anything. Like, that seems... That sounds like a long shot to me. There's definitely, like, hardware, like, specific hardware stuff you can do. I don't think that there's much you can do on general matrix multiplies, though. What's been done today? Jess, we've got all the environments running and stable with demos on the website or the local build of the website. And I've gone through a little over half of them so far for cleanups to make sure LLM has not just slopped them totally with any of the binding integration changes. I have a few categories of things left to finish, like better rendering for turn-based games. But overall, I'd say it's going pretty well. How was chess? Honestly, I just saw the big file. I took a quick skim, said, like, that's way higher quality code than all the other bullshit I'm dealing with right now, and I just left it as is. I just essentially made sure we didn't make a mess of it. Thanks. Yeah. Also, we're gonna have MOBA for self-play too. So we have a lot of self-play M's that we can mess with, right? Open source a big threat? I'd certainly hope so. That'd be pretty great. Oh, oops, you thought that you were gonna make all the money in the world and have everybody pay you for the AI, now it's free. Haha. That sounds pretty nice to me. It's mainly trying to cram an LLM into everything, Jess. Getting tired tonight. Not really done a research. Um, e- Engineering is a very, very powerful tool for research, as is science. There are too many people that just want to do the science or just want to do their eng. You need to do what is needed to solve the problem you care about. You can't be married to an approach. You have to be married to the outcome. Speedrun being a good engineer. Read my article. Like, read my article and do projects. I basically did speedrun becoming a good engineer after I finished my PhD, to be honest. Like, I could already write code that would be much better than the majority of what you'd see in industry. Um, but like all the low level dev, that's all new. That's all in the past 3 years. Like I was pretty much already very much at home because I'd already spent a very long amount of time just like trying to figure out how to write better code and understanding all the possible design trade-offs of different approaches. So like from that sense, it was pretty natural to me. Um, and it really didn't feel hard to like relearn systems. It felt like very straightforward and it felt freeing, if anything. Bradford was a bad engineer. I think he would agree with that statement as well. He did all his stuff out of notebooks. I remember that he was very good at counteracting it though. He would like throw away all of his code and just write everything from scratch every project, so he could never accumulate a whole bunch of tech debt. It was just a really good scientist, right? He was like for every rule there's an exception. Bradford was a great guy. I have like basically only good things to say about him. Research I get worried about. It could be reading. Yeah, research. The problem is that a lot of the lit is very low quality, even from people that should know better. This is in my article as well. So if you're curious about that, read my article. uh, Not being a frontier. Oh, I'm motivated by money. I'm just not only motivated by money. I figure I can make money anyways, and what I'm doing, it's far more important. It's far more important that this exists than that they have one additional person at a giant company where it's already impossible to do anything. Also, Puffer is a frontier company. We make Pufferlib. Yeah, x.com/J Suarez. My guide to programming in ML. It's my highest rated piece of content. Which I had that sense. Look, I'm in a place where like the worst thing that can happen at the moment is that like I have to go join a company or join some other startup or whatever, which seems very unlikely to me. Like we have clients. I'm barely putting any time into like actively expanding the business side. I mostly do the research. The tech is getting better at a ridiculously fast rate. So, in my mind, there's really not any risk associated with doing what I'm doing. Go found a startup. That's what I'm doing, man. Buffer is a company. Our stuff's open source, but they're still a company. Yeah, so PhD, I never try to convince anybody to do a PhD. Um, you really only should be doing a PhD if you know that you want to do a PhD. Like, there are a lot of strings that come with doing stuff in academia. You kind of have to like the whole conference and publishing system, or at least be able to stay sane while dealing with it, because it's really bullshit at times. Um, Academia is not all that open-minded. They have a very specific idea of what they consider to be the way that you make progress. I'm having much, much more fun now doing stuff on my own. Why, Gruck? For like the 20th time today, it's faster than the other models. That's all it is. It's faster. Pulling in NetHack. I should have had this in Subagent. Oops. I have to take a call real quick. I will be back in like 5 minutes. One sec here. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. And we will continue. We will continue on in a second. I just saw like a notification on the side. Hang on. I missed something important. One moment. Okay. All right. We're good. We're good. Uh, I watched your PhD thesis defense 2 years ago. That's crazy. Atari part of it. I look back the memory. Atari's not the world. Yeah, well, we solved Breakout in under a second now, so I think it's a little more obvious that it's not that hard. Advisors, UVA, MIT, PhD, self knowledge. Yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a balanced take on that. It's like, on one sense, I kind of just want the knowledge to exist and be used broadly. I'd like to make some money off of it in the process as well, but not by keeping it behind closed doors. Joining a lab? Nope. Puffer is a lab. The Puffer AI lab. All right, so not faster or more stable. Cool. That's fine. Fair source. After 2 years. The thing is, I don't think any of the labs are actually going to obey. Like, people don't obey licenses like that anyways. So basically, all you're saying is that now you want to have a bunch of lawyers on staff to, like, enforce your shit or whatever. The stuff is either closed or it's open. Like, I guarantee you, if I were to talk to, like, some of the customers I have, right? I talk to them, they say, like, oh, it's open source. So, like, what do you do if it's open source? And I say, oh, well, look, we made the software. We know what's coming next. We're really good at applying it. We are the ones who built it after all. It's a pretty easy sell. But, like, if it were open source but licensed, and say, well, you need to hire us because of the license, they're just going to get really quiet and know, like, well, we're just going to, have an LLM port it internally or whatever, and we'll use that. Like, screw that. It's open or it's closed. End of story. This is good. That's good. How'd you connect with NYU to collaborate? I talked with Eugene at a conference at NeurIPS a few years ago, and I saw the sim and was like, we could make that shit fast. And we did. We made it very fast. uh, Okay. I see some macro bullshit. I want this diff scrutinized. Material science, yeah. I started trying to bind lamps for that a while ago, and it sort of became obvious that it was going to take a lot more work, like deeper work with the material science packages, because they're really not built for it. Contributions? Yeah, where do you think all these environments come from? The majority of them are from contributors. This is in 4.0, and we have like another 15 or 20 of them that we're adding to 5.0. Mm-mm. They're pretty cool. This is by an undergrad. This was so good that I had to take him as an intern. Look at this shit. Can play Rocket League? You definitely can. That has been done before. You can probably get it to work much faster though than existing approaches. Because I think that they just bind the actual game, which is really slow. Oh, you don't have to train it on correct play. You just train it on sim, and the sim goes very fast. Like, do you understand the amount of data that we can generate? You can literally train on a month worth of games per second for a lot of our sims. It's an utterly stupid amount of data. Puffer is really fast. See computer the brain parts on a what? CL, I don't know what that is. Mhm. Code deployable. I have no idea what that. I don't know anything about that, man. I'm sorry. I can't tell you shit. Objectives material sci? The material science M to science some materials, of course. I don't know, optimize some properties given a configuration. I have a feeling Puffer will science many materials, alright? Discover new materials. That sure, that would be great. I like to discover many materials. Interface problem. You can definitely get even like you don't need a big model to be able to move a mouse around. Actually, there's this env that we made that's just like an aim booster env. You can totally train a little agent to basically have perfect control over a mouse in only a few seconds. I used to think that that one was hard, but it's really not. The annoying thing about using a mouse is actually like having to simulate a screen, because you don't want to do the calcs on rendered space. You know, you want to do it like the env somehow is defined on screen space but not rendered. Little annoying for sim. Without the intelligent thought. That's most people, my guy. Connect via APIs. Yeah, exactly. So that's the real question, Crit. I don't think that we want the stupid AIs to be using our interfaces in the first place. It's incredibly inefficient. We kind of just did the aim boost end because it was a funny thing to do. Oh, Jesus. What did the guard? It actually understood that. That's funny. That was awful. I'm sorry. I'm taking a couple extra minutes to finish this correctly because I don't want this messing up my really nice. I don't like this messing up my nice thing. That's awful. And some open source ML stuff. Okay, linear improv for once. Depends what you're working on. We do have a lot of fancy kernel code. Not that fancy, but there's kernel code. Does it run? No, you as the new versions of Puffer, you cannot run training on Apple Silicon. It's CUDA specific. That said, you can spin yourself up an instance on Vast for like 10 cents an hour with a decent GPU. Yeah, don't buy a GPU. Just like literally 10 cents an hour on Vast will get you something good enough. Way better than you could ever do on Apple Silicon. Actually, in Puffer 5, we are making nice CPU eval infrastructure. So if you train your policies on like a Vast instance, you will be able to eval and render them locally. That is one of the things that we added in 5.0 is very nice CPU evaluation. Adverts pop up everywhere. So I have my Twitch set to the minimum possible number of ads that it lets you set, which is 30 seconds an hour. I can't really do much more than that. You can drop Prime subs if you have them. That'll disable them on my channel fully, but that's basically it. I cannot disable ads for users. How's it been going? Hey, Weston. Good to see you, man. We are almost to Puffer 5.0. Almost to Puffer 5. It's entirely CUDA C now. Under 10,000 lines. Well, it will be for release. Under 10k lines of CUDA C. Super compact. No Python. 50 plus environments. Pretty nice. If I find out something might need weeks of training. So weeks of training is normal if you're not using Pufferlib. Our stuff is fast. So no weeks of training. That's not me being arrogant either. It's literally like 1000x faster. Apple Silicon. So it's weird. The Apple Silicon stuff is really weird because it's like you can kind of do really slow, shitty inference on it at like a weirdly good price point. Because of the memory, yeah. That doesn't mean that it's good compute though. It's really jank. Rock is faster. 2 M's from 3.0 to 4.0. Wait, which two were yours? I think I did it for you. I think I did it for you, man. Where's Weston on here? Wait, why are you not on here? Bro, if you PR'd your thing, I'd have your name on here. Wait, which are your M's, man? Alright, which one was yours? Remind me. Because I bet you that I've already ported it up to 5.0, and you should just PR your name to the website so I can include you. You guys hiring? Not now, since new grad. We're not really hiring full-time just randomly. Because we're, like, we don't take funding. We're bootstrapped. So we are planning to expand, but, like, slowly, and as we're getting more sustainable clients and stuff. And it will probably mostly start with people from the community who've been doing, like, who've actually been doing tons of good RL work around. Like Spencer, for instance, who's now working with me on this full time, he literally just started making puffer M's and didn't stop, and then started contributing to core, and then all the, like, the contract stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. RL ADK. It's more just like really, really high perf training and infra and stuff. I don't know. You can clone it and try it out. Weston, which one was your end? Please remind me. Because I probably have a cool demo to show you. We made triple triad. Mexican train. I can't remember which I PR'd. I don't think you PR'd all of them, because I went through and I merged a whole bunch of envs in, and I don't remember any of those. Would I say less? No. If I wanted to be there, I'd be there. Puffer is a frontier lab, by the way. Name one other place with RL tech this good. Nobody. Two-person frontier lab, still a frontier lab. Give subs on YouTube. Does YouTube even have subs? I'm gonna give for that answer. You don't have to give me money, man. It's we're chill. I don't really care to monetize my viewers. Like, the business side of Puffer is building high perf sims and RL integrations for large companies. Do I go to conferences? You know, RLC is actually happening right now, and I was thinking about going, but I really couldn't be bothered. I kind of figured I would just jam dev this weekend instead and get our pre-release done. Saudis and pipelining. You're funny. Gotta get that done. PR triple triad. Change 4-0. 4-0s has triple pointers. I mean, point me at the stuff, man. Just put it in the Discord or whatever, and I'll merge them. If you have any new M's as well, I will definitely pull some in. We have like 50 M's now. Always wanting more. Twitch subs don't show up on the stream. My bad. Thank you very much, my friend. Enjoy your ad previewing. not the showing up. Well, it's because I'm not just on Twitch, right? I'm like multi-streamed. I pay Codex to help out. Bleh. Became video editor for AI Tango. Oh, cool. His stuff looked interesting. I kind of decided that off-pol was just not going to scale reasonably with data. The off-pol algorithms just stack so many damn tricks and so many damn things. It is pretty cool though to be able to see what he's been able to get to learn with like not very much data. We gotta keep going. Like, just finished up Masters. Feels like stuff's moving fast, not a good idea. Is it possible to do research? It is possible to get into research without a PhD, absolutely. I don't ever recommend that people who aren't really sure if they want to do a PhD to do a PhD. Like, you do a PhD because you know you want to do a PhD. Setting ads to 3 mins. People complained more when I did that. So it's 30 seconds. 30 seconds an hour with some pre-rolls, or 3 minutes an hour with no pre-rolls. Someone's money is better spent on cloud GPU to buy a physical GPU. It depends how much stuff you're going to be doing. At current prices, you probably just buy, like, rent, like, really cheap GPUs on Vast. Because the current prices are insane. If you could actually get stuff at MSRP, then you buy. But it's literally like 3x inflated right now. You can blame Altman for that. Web stuff, depressed. Yeah, that would be depressing. I agree. Web is pretty depressing. This is making me feel like C++ might be overkill for Mel stuff. What? Have you seen our source? It's pure coup to see, my guy. It's pure coup to see. C is way simpler. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Like, most people that, like, are using C++, they could just be doing their stuff just fine in C and make less of a mess of it. I've seen a couple people write decent C++, where it's like, okay, fine. But most of the time, C is just so easy. I do think C is easy in the sense it's just so simple. But it's easy in a good way, right? Like, why make life hard on yourself? It's fast. It's really simple. What's not to like? 8 languages, yeah, it is. Okay, on to the third column. Rust I absolutely despise. Zig seems like okay. If you want a C++ replacement, like Zig seems okay, but it's not a C replacement to me. It's like way too much. Like every single C replacement language ends up changing way too much from C. C is really good. There are only like a few kind of jank things, and they're pretty small. I'm from competitive programming. Rock harness. Oh my god, everybody just asked me about the stupid LLM. It's just faster than Codex. Guys, it's not that deep. Okay? It's really not that deep. The model is faster. Heck, I got sick of waiting it. I got sick of it being slow even though it's still faster. So you see how fast it's generating now? I have it on medium. I just need it to be faster. So I can not be sitting here waiting. Most people can speak one language. That's kind of sad because it's just not that hard. At least know 2 or 3. That way, when I say English is the next language, I don't have to, I'm not being a myopic bigot, I'm just being a bigot. Is it better though? It's better for me because it's faster and I need it to be fast. You actually type the words Malik and Frey. Huh? Yes. You Malik and Free stuff, it's C. Why is everybody afraid of memory management? All right, this is how to fix. This is how you do memory management in 10 seconds, right? When your program starts, You malloc all the memory need. And that's it. That's all you have to do. When the program exits, the operating system frees it. If you have to allocate something in a loop, then yeah, you have to free it in the loop. That's it. That's literally all there is to it. You actually don't even have to free your memory, is the funny thing. Like if it's for the whole lifetime of the program, you don't have to free it. I actually made the decision to delete all the frees from like the main chunk of the program in Puffer 5 because there's just no point. Nobody else is going to call it. It's the main function. C is not a good programming language anymore because of malloc and free. Bruh, it's really easy. No, like you should be you should be managing your memory. Every other language that tries to do something fancy with memory management just makes it more complicated by hiding the details from you. It's like, "Oh, here, you stupid baby. I know you can't handle memory management. I know that's too complicated. Shh, it's okay. The language will handle the memory management. It's okay. The language will secretly allocate the memory for you and secretly free it and secretly be very slow." Okay, not bad. Frames thing is, we're gonna have to handle the frame thing, I'm sure. It's not bad, though. If you think you need garbage collection in a language to write substantial programs, you need to learn how to program. Because that's just straight meme. Okay. Now we start getting to the vibe-coded env PRs that are going to be painful. How bad is this code? Actually, you know what? Kinvert sometimes vibe codes the crap out of stuff, and he sometimes does stuff by hand. Looking at this, I'm guessing this is vibe coded to hell. Jeez. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, God. Yeah. I think he actually ran. He might have actually run my compression thing on this. He said he was going to. That would be super funny. If he tried to hide the LLM crap by using my, like, compression thing. But you cannot hide from me. Uh-huh. If they make it readable. If they make it readable, they're not vibe coding it. Like, the thing is, I can guarantee you with this, even though this is better than some of the other ones, like, I guarantee you that I could cut at least 20% of the lines off of this file and have it do the exact same thing and be just as faster. And more readable. The port is fine, though. The port is fine. Next env. Bet I'm actually going through it. I'm trying to, like, prevent, like, just trying to avoid any jank. Like, here. I'm doing stuff like this. See, like, I can see that nothing got messed up. Pong's good. The serve thing on Pong I have to figure out. No, this is a shitty old, like, this is just a shitty old machine that still has a Windows on it, of all things. This is running in a WSL term, making changes, but then the actual experiments are being done on an HGPU box remotely with Ubuntu. Linting does not make stuff readable on its own. Nope. Style is like one small thing. 1K lines. Plot rewards are kind of gross. Spencer, what he's doing with that. I don't want to change that, though, because I know Spencer's using this env. Turn, fire. Sample DR triplet. Compute obs, yes. I've been using Vim since high school. It's good. I used VS Code for like a year because I had to for a thing and hated it. Bots.h. Okay, that's fine. There's some stuff I want to clean up with this, but this will be a bigger thing, and I don't want to screw with Spencer's work. So I think we're fine here. That's weird. Rust doesn't actually make your code safe. It's also just a fucking awful language. If I wanted a borrow checker, I'd take out a loan. Next language. This is local, but then it does have SSH access to a vast box I have rented for the day. I actually need to kill that instance soon. Listen to music. Too distracting. I literally have RuneScape open on the side window. This is like brain dead work here. This is basically just what you're seeing here is just basic maintenance. Like all the pre-release work is essentially janitorial work, all right? The only reason I don't have two instances of it open is because I got logged out with a weird update earlier today and I didn't bother reopening the other one, all right? Like, this is not real work. This is just annoying maintenance that needs to be done before the release. I have to do it, but whatever. Like, one does the weirdest thing. This is state-of-the-art reinforcement learning. But this is, like, the janitorial work that you have to do, um, for your library. This is not the cool research bits. Those bits are much more focused. That's fine. That looks decent. If you're not using PyTorch, um, they have different models. Like, PyTorch sucks for what we're doing here. It literally will cap you at 1/10 of the performance that we have. You really just need your own custom CUDA C stack. And basically, you'll just spend so much time in PyTorch chasing performance that you're never going to get because it's their library. It's nothing you're doing, it's the library. I did that for like 2 years before we went to CUDA C. We tried every possible thing to keep it in like a more common framework, and it just wasn't worth it ultimately. We had to do a custom thing. Okay, we're gonna give this one some more time, but not now. I'm not gonna do this 6K line PR evaluation now. We'll just we'll get this thing integrated and then we'll fix it later. Yeah, that complicated the crap out of this. Can I compare Pufferlib to? I'm trying to think like what's a really high perf piece of software that's domain specific. No, it's not close to Jax. Jax is a big, heavy framework. Jax is an ancient. What? It's a relatively newish thing. It's not CleanRL either. I mean, the closest thing I would like, we use Raylib for our graphics, That's kind of the closest. No, because Raylib is still like a more general library. You know Raylib? We use Raylib for all our visuals. In fact, if you know Raylib, who's that pufferfish on the front page? That's us. I was the one who got him to add the company sponsored, like the company sponsorship slots. It's such a good library. Raylib's awesome. I mean, like, look at this. Yeah, AGI, my guys. It's AGI. That's how you zero your data. It does zero it in the worst way possible. This was some sub-agent, I don't know doing what. This is why I check it, because, like, it just adds crap for no reason. You know, it's... Step and then render. Or render and then step. Step, then render. That doesn't make sense, does it? Because it's reset, render, step, render, step, like, it should be renders first. The Hugging Face stuff, they intentionally blew out of proportion to generate, like, to make their model seem cool and dangerous. It doesn't matter. Well, it does bet if we're going to use render to hijack the action loop. .c demo. Yeah, so bet the cool thing is we no longer need .c file for all of the different demos. Like we literally just have one demo file and you don't even have to write the .c's anymore. It's pretty nice. What do you mean no? No, you still have to write your .h file, obviously, bet. But like the extra .c file, you know how you'd have to write the exact same loop every single env? That's like, init the env, then reset, right? And then like render step, model inference. That portion you don't have to write anymore. We just found a way to do that more cleanly without having to write it every file. It wasn't that hard. Backprop is the best way to... We don't. It's the best thing we have. We don't know whether it's reasonable to expect something else to be better or not. Any reason to use C++? We don't use C++. This is CUDA C. You'll notice the end files are .h because they need to compile under a C compiler. But they also compile as CUDA. So you can do one compilation unit with NVCC. And then our whole code base, it's all in .cu files for the source so that we don't need launch wrappers. And we can keep things very tight. But that doesn't mean it's C++. Like, we're just writing C in CUDA files. Well, of course there's CUDA, right? How do you think we train our models? It's actually very tightly optimized CUDA. Okay, realistically, how many more M's do I need to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 more M's. If I want this to be done tonight, I have to go faster. We're still going to, unfortunately, tomorrow, we didn't get to the turn-based stuff. So we'll still have to do that tomorrow. Dev is on the current 5.0 code base. Expect a gigantic merge tomorrow with all of the new M's. Tonight, we can at least start the puffer on GitHub. That is free, and that helps me out a lot. Mm-hmm. Give star. Thank you very much. Puffers like stars. I'm so sleepy. Issues is anything good? Our issues are not. Our issues are not really a good place to start for stuff to do, frankly. People kind of just open random issues. You're way better off just sort of hanging out in the Discord and picking up projects and stuff from there. Most new contributors write ends. It's a really good way to get into the project. It's a lot of fun. You literally just need like first course in systems level C. If you actually are relatively proficient in low level dev, it'll only take you a few hours to write your first env. How's it 8:37 for you? 9:37, my bad. My clock is wrong. That's how. Simple assembly. You don't even need to go that low level, man. It's like brain dead C for a lot of the env code. No, a lot of the env code is genuinely very simple. Now, if you want to get into the whole CUDA stack that we have, and the trainer, and the architecture, and especially the way our research is, it gets a bit more complicated. But the barrier to entry to do like something useful is very low. We actually, one contributor made us a Sokoban environment that's only a few hundred lines of code. And that ended up being an amazing research environment. We had somebody submit 2048. That ended up being an amazing research environment. 220 lines taken out of Affian lock and it still trains. Yo, convert. You had some slop, my guy. I didn't even touch it. That's not even 220 lines taken off with me like doing anything. That's just me running the stupid skill file. I'm sure I could take much more off of it if I actually tried. Not yet convert. It'll all be. I'm doing one gigantic merge tomorrow. Are we good? Good. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I get sick of. Well, if people submit me clean PRs to the current branch, I'll just merge them. But otherwise, I kind of just yoink the code and merge it manually. And if you want to show up on the contributor list or whatever, you can just open a PR to the website with your name and you'll be on the contributors list. Yeah, I just don't particularly care about our PR or our issues list. Like, you can open PRs, and if it's useful, I'll get the stuff from there. But I don't like, I've never been the type of person where it's like, I need to have 0 open issues or I need 0 open PRs. It's kind of like, oh, I need to have 0 unread emails. Like, no, I have 10,000 unread emails. I don't care. Good, a really good and useful env. That is a good question. Okay. So, a good env, typically, you should be able to get non-zero performance on it after only a little bit of training, whether that is because it's scalable in the sense that there's some easy portion early on, or however you want to set it up. We typically don't need a bunch of new envs that you can just train in 3 seconds. Sometimes that can be cool, but for research grade M's, things that we actually use for testing whether our algorithm is better, we like stuff that sort of scales in problem difficulty. So uh, a really good sign of this is having like a nice log linear curve with performance. So if I can keep spending compute and keep doing better on the environment and not saturate, that tends to be an interesting task, because that means that perhaps with some algorithmic changes, I can shift the entire curve upward, and that's really easy for us to measure. Typically, at a high level, environment should introduce some sort of interesting challenge in some way or other for the agent. Like 2048, for instance, doesn't seem like a particularly interesting task at first. Like, okay, it's a relatively simple game. You make 2048. Like, it's not that difficult. But then it turns out, like, the agent can keep going to 4096, 8192, 16K, 32K. It can do very, very well. And it turns out that the strategy required to do that is actually pretty non-trivial, and it scales well with compute. So that's like one nice example, right? Mazes were another one. We do randomly generated up to n by n mazes. That's really nice because you can always increase n to make it harder. It's a pretty damn good test of memory and credit assignment. And you also get to test, robustness under extreme reward sparsity as well. We will try out Appian Lock. I will say I am not particularly interested in taking VC money. I don't want the strings. Also, it's not free money. Like, I don't really need to give away equity for that. I'd rather give equity to people that actually, like, build stuff. Nice diff. You can probably tell I'm getting tired. Convert, did you ever send me a sweep curve for Appian Lock? See, man, this is the thing. You do lots and lots of different projects, but, like, if you want to design a thing and you think it's going to be useful for something, you can totally just like give me evidence that will immediately make me like want to use the env instantly for all of the research. Okay, look, you have an env that you say scales in difficulty, right? Those are really useful for research. How do we measure that? Scaling with compute, right? Well, how do we tell that? Well, we run a sweep on it, and then we look at the Pareto curve of performance. We verify that the points that are up on the higher end are actually doing something non-trivial and impressive, and that behavior is getting better the more compute you put into it under optimal hyperparameters. That makes an interesting environment. So, if you PR the env and you link me like, hey, look at this sweep curve, we get this awesome scaling with compute, or like it plateaus here, but then it like jumps up here. Like, you know, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, constellation, as well as, you put a GIF of the policy or something to explain like if it's doing something non-trivial as well, ideally, if it's not obvious. Like 2048 is a great example of this, right? Like you can see it making like 16K on the score after an hour under optimal hypers, and then no policy that is taking less time will do that well. And then version after version, we're able to make it take less and less time to get to that same score, and we're able to push to higher and higher score in the same time. I mean, that's like a half coherent quote bet. I'm sure if I wrote it down, I'd be more eloquent, but I've been streaming for like 9 hours today, so. Yeah, I know you quoted me, Bet. Like, if you're gonna quote me directly, like, okay. If I were gonna, like, you're quoting me rambling on stream, though. You're not quoting me, like, actually giving you, like, a coherent statement. You miss academic environment? No. Advisor was chill, but academia as a whole? No. Kinvert said he did not vibe code this. Oh, wait. No, he didn't. He said he didn't vibe code the other env. And then cleaned up. This is my fault. I'll fix this. The Stoltz is fine at least. Couple janky things. This is one of those where I'd probably have to spend some real time to clean this up significantly. OpenAI's. Well, we do have our own library of environments. It's called Ocean. We have like 50 of them. Compared to Jim, we are running probably on average about 10,000 times faster. So it kind of becomes a whole different field at that point. Yeah, also Jim kind of doesn't do anything. It's just like an API for environments and then some really, really bad vectorization code. Just clean up its macro crap. Yes. I can barely see where the if statements are. Well, I'm looking for specific things, right? I know the exact types of things that this is going to screw up, and I'm looking for those. Like here's one. This is done. This already was fixed. A million times faster. Million is there are a couple places where it is a million x faster, but that would be an exaggeration in most cases. For stuff that is like had any effort to be made fast, we're typically between 100 and 1,000 times faster, but there are very real cases where we are like 10,000x faster. You can literally train Breakout in under a second. There are libraries, the common libraries, like that have any version of Breakout. Typically, it's like a multiple hour problem. There are a couple ones with custom problems that have it in like an hour or whatever. We have it in under a second. Yes, we do also have business. Mostly looking for larger companies at this point. Or startups with budget. We're trying to do larger contracts. Because otherwise the small ones take too much time away from my dev. Jank. Float. Void obs. Hang on. Just check this real quick. This is actually a good env. A bunch of helpers. Not a huge fan. Not bad for sure. I think we can improve it, but it's not bad. Okay. Wait, let me do it. Yeah, over here, yeah. Kamehameha! Don't write your code like this. Don't write your code like this. And don't use go-tos, Jesus Christ. We're gonna ignore that for now. Like, have you heard of the Kamehameha? Yeah. Don't super deeply indented code for no reason. Like needlessly. Okay, this is correct, you see? Because here without the continue, this is just typical sign of noob code, right? If instead of this, you reverse this not equal 0, you put this in here, you just keep indenting and indenting and indenting. And then you have to start wrapping lines because the lines get too long. I will be the first to tell you, editor is really not important as a guy who's been using Vim for 15 years. You can use whatever the hell you want. I like Vim because I can run it on a Docker. I can run it on like over SSH, and I basically just have my entire development environment with me wherever I go, which is very minimal anyways. And I don't have to worry about like, oh, this plugin to SSH, this plugin for container. That like I don't have to care about anything, and it just always works. You know. So yeah, editor does not matter. The exception to this is if you're brand new to programming and you tell me that, oh, I use cursor, like, fuck off with that. Go write some C by hand. How many lines did I remove from soccer? I don't think I removed much of anything, Convert. Is it 700? The only thing I did is I fixed, like, when I ported, you saw, when I had this thing port soccer to Puffer 5 or port it to, like, the new thing, it did some jank across all the ends in the process of getting stuff to work on the website. I'm correcting that now. Do you worry about massive files? Not worry about, yeah, you don't worry about file size. What is it still doing? Oh, I don't know why it's doing this. Okay. Of course it's a puffer fish. It's Puffer AI. It's their mascot. Do I look like I have a flower prompt? Bruh. Hmm. Nice. Tricks to get constellation. Uh, well, I think on 4.0 you just have to run the cache data script, like the constellation cache data script. Then you build constellation and /see the stars. It changed puff white color. What? Where? Oh, it did add this. Thank you. No, it did not change the puff white. It changed the position. Fine. I gotta now read all three of these. Hang on. The thing is, there shouldn't be any code other than them moving something from one file to the other here. Fine. I just moved this is fine. Did I check Space Invaders? I don't think I did. Oh, well, that one's a brand new N, so whatever. Your coworkers are opening 20K line PRs. And now you understand why I don't work at shitty companies. All of Pufferlib is 10K lines. Like, our whole core source is 10K. The only, like, gigantic PRs we've merged are the, like, Valo's RuneScape Env, where that's obviously just gonna be massive. Tactical target template, yes. Maybe don't be stupid, agent. Huh? How about that? That looks better. Indexed Void Star? What? Since when the fuck is Agent Observation's Void Star? That's a big fuck up. I hate language models, man. Oh, let's just make the Agent Observation's Void Star. Man, it just slips retarded things by you every time. Even when you're being careful is why it's so annoying. It's very frustrating. I would never make observations void star. Something got slipped by me for the last week, apparently. And I didn't notice because I was just doing the ends now. It's not that it's an include order issue, man. It's that it did like a completely retarded fix instead of just flipping two lines. You would never make your obs void star. That is awful. I wouldn't be surprised that caused a significant performance dip. I don't know how I didn't catch that as well. Good. Yeah, wait for that. Why would void make it slower? Compiler doesn't know the type under the hood. It very well could disable a bunch of compiler optimizations. See, with the macro, if I use obst, the macro is defined at compile time, so it knows it's a float. System allows you to use that exists. It's just very slow. Have you seen like parallels? Yeah, that exists. It's just very, very slow. Arguably, for games, it's gotten a lot better, at least. I don't know how that works. I don't know how Proton works, to be fair. But for game stuff has gotten much better. I don't know. I've kind of leaned away from support everything type stuff recently. Pufferlib kind of started as a support everything in RL project. And then I just sort of realized over time that everything in RL was kind of crap. And it was literally just better to build new versions that were good than it were to spend all the time and effort trying to maintain a crap version that would never be good. To be fair, I don't know what the state of Unix was back then. He spoke at OpenAI, actually, and he said that back then he was just trying to write good code. Like when he started and when he was really just building, building, building. The funny thing is you actually don't need Windows for games anymore. Like, almost everything runs perfectly on Linux. It's pretty much just the big anti-cheats that don't run on Linux. And that's because it's like, lol, kernel level anti-cheat, how about no? Like, no thank you. Okay, let's see this. Fine. Fine. Tower defense. Tower defense is gonna need a refactor. I'm not doing that today. Trash pickup. Let's do the ones that are like the old ends. You're playing a video game at the same time. Not a competitive game, just training, just have RuneScape open on this side. Up by every Saturday. So I don't stream every Saturday lately. It used to be that Saturday would always be my long stream day where I would stream like 12 plus hours. I haven't been doing that lately. I've gotten a little soft. Mm. But I have this weekend off to myself, so I figured I may as well really crank on some dev. I know when I was building Puffer 3 and parts of Puffer 4, it was like, don't talk to me, it's Saturday. Time to grind 14 hours of porting from Torch to CUDA. MIT good for views. What, like sticking MIT whatever in the title? I don't want to do that, it's shitty. Why does it matter if it's a Saturday? That's the funny part. It literally doesn't, because I make my own schedule, but I do it anyways. After this, how many do I have left? Wait, literally just 3 new M's, and one of them I know is fine. Oh, we just have 3 new M's after this, and I can go to sleep. That'll be good. Why do we have 30 people watching me at 10:25 p.m. on a Saturday night? What are you all doing? Oh, actually, X fixed their view count. You actually get a correct view count from X now. That's fun. Well, if any of you are new around here, Star Puffer on GitHub. It helps us out a lot. It is free. If you want to help even more, build a cool RL env and PR it to Puffer. Saturdays for going deep into ML. I mean, if you read my article, right? A couple of my articles, the RL guide basically walks you through, like, look, you read this and you read this, then you build a little Puffer env, and then you read this. It walks you through quite nicely. It's not like a learn RL in 5 minutes thing, obviously, but it's also not a learn RL in 5 years thing. Like, you can make good progress over a weekend. If you submit obviously vibe coded crap, I will not give it a serious review. Please note. I will flame you for it though. I do not hold myself to any sort of professional conduct standard on stream. That would be exhausting. Uh, if the env code is good enough, sure. But it's not going to be. Where's Puffer help teams? Where has Puffer helped teams the most so far in training? I mean, we have a bunch of different application areas. It's not just like all our contracts are in one area. But like the general type of problem is where either there is a fast sim or we can build a fast sim. And that does include places where you would not expect us to be able to build a fast sim. We're very good at it. Can anything cool happen? How much compute does that have? You can probably deploy policies on it, like tiny ones. Some of our policies you can basically run on a potato. It's got a Wi-Fi chip. You can run on device, most likely. If you can load, like, can you load 10K per? How much RAM does it have? Like, is 10,000 parameters too much? I think probably 10,000 parameters is about the minimum to do something with Puffer. Okay, this env is crap. Did anyone actually fix it? Weston did, apparently. If I pull his PR. I kind of like it being crap, though, because this was Spencer's first environment PR. and the code is total shit. And now Spencer kicks ass. Four MB flash? Dude, that's plenty. 4 MB flash? Like, you can deploy like a 500k parameter model on that, no problem. That thing's overkill, if anything. Deploy 4 megabytes? What? Our models are smaller than that, dude. How big did you think our models were? Like, what? Dude, here. I'm gonna show you the lazy version of this. Come on, work. God damn it. Hang on a second. Here, let me show you. This is not Python garbage stream, my guy. I know it's hard to tell because you see me doing really stupid maintenance work just typing crap into Grok. But, there. Alright, hopefully this has reasonable defaults on it. How long do you think it takes to train Breakout? 900 ms. And if you check this out on our website, you'll get a policy that basically plays Breakout perfectly. And how much Breakout do you think this thing played? 60 million frames of Breakout. Actually more, because it's multiplied by frame skip. So, hang on. Okay, so 180 million frames. So divide that by 60 FPS, and I don't know, that's a whole bunch of Breakout. What the fuck are AI Labs doing? Well, now you know why I'm not at one of them. I got other things to do. And that Breakout env is like a few hundred lines of code. If you've ever taken an intro systems course, like you've ever seen C at all, you can write that environment. Okay, you can write the CPU version, not the GPU one. The GPU one is just a shitty vibe port anyways. The CPU one is decent. There's a few hundred lines of super basic C. Obviously, the rest of the infra is way more complicated around it, but it's still pretty short. It's only 5k lines. No, they're just training really big models is all. And infrastructure is not optimized for small models. That's why we wrote our own. I don't know why. Dude, this is not hard. Here. Look. This is a minimal environment, all right? This is a minimal multi-agent RL environment. It's 134 lines of code. Ready? I'm going to walk you through this. It's most of our M's are not compacted like this. I compacted this one a little bit so it would fit on one screenshot. Okay? So we have some constants. We have a clip function. We have a log struct. We have an entity struct. We have an environment struct that has a log. It has an array of agents. And it has an array of entities. That's it. Okay? Here's some bullshit that the LLM added. We're going to delete this. This is puffing it. You set the number of agents. You zero some variables. I'm pretty sure the LLM added this bullshit as well, to be honest with you. What the fuck even is this? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can just delete this crap, but I don't want to risk it now. I'll fix this in the morning. This is the log function. You just call dict set on a couple things, whatever. Here's the observation computation. This is the most important part. You walk through some agents. You compute the heading and speed of your own agent, and then you walk through the other agents, and you compute their relative distance to you, as well as a cooldown and a type. That's it. Here's your reset function. You just randomize the positions of everything. Here's the step function. You walk through all of the agents, you move them. If they hit a target that's not on cooldown, you put it on cooldown and you advance the target. Here's your reward. You get a 1 for hitting the target. Here's some logging. That's it. Here's the target, like, post computation stuff. Here's your rendering function. It's like 20 lines of raylib, not even. And here's close. That's the entire env. So, the barrier to entry is quite low. Skill ceiling is very high, but the barrier to entry is quite low. Oh, I have the wrong file, dummy. LiDAR. LiDAR sort of works. It's slow. Like LiDAR-based sims. Actually, GPU drive, we have the highest perf self-driving sim with NYU. It sort of has LiDAR-ish. It's kind of annoying. This is good enough for government work for the day. Why isn't there a way to make a stuff? There is. Oh, on ARM? No, on the AMD there is. But like if you're worried about not having a GPU, you can literally rent a decent GPU on Vast for 10 cents. Like 10 cents an hour, it's not expensive. Running some of our experiments is a little bit more expensive because we run a lot of experiments. But if you just want to be able to play around a little bit and like build a little env and train it, 10 cents an hour for a GPU. Most strong programmer. Python type and functional programming and test driven. Oh, in my intro guide? Let me give you a proper answer hang on. So Python is not a fast language. It's a very slow language. Why do people write Python? People write Python because it's very compact. It's a very succinct language. You really don't have to worry about many of the underlying details of anything, and it just runs. Okay? So the type int system, you kind of just sacrifice a bunch of that. And normally, strongly typed languages, in return for being fast, in return for you doing that, are faster, right? But in the case of Python, it's not faster. It's just annoying. In fact, in some cases, it's actually slower. Functional programming is a weird dogma like object-oriented programming, where it's imposing a very strict way of doing stuff on all of your work that is fundamentally incompatible with how a computer works. Because computers have shared mutable memory, and that's how you make things fast. It's mostly weird math nerds that get into functional. I don't understand why. And TDD assumes that you can anticipate exactly what the hell it is that you're building and the shape that it's going to take where you never can. So it assumes the conclusion, and the benefit that it's supposed to give you is stability or whatever. Some of the worst code bases I've seen are the most heavily tested. You can write some tests, but making testing the focus of your entire development makes no sense. Those would be the brief versions of it. NVIDIA stuff runs... Yeah, so NVIDIA does only run GPU. Are tests bad? Tests are not bad. Maintaining a shit ton of tests is bad. I typically treat most of our tests as throwaways. We'll, like, write some stuff. Sometimes we'll have a really important test that we keep around, especially, like, kernel performance tests or stuff. But most tests are considered throwaway. Because having a bunch of tests prevents you from actually fixing your problem, which in most cases means, like, actually refactoring the thing into something better. Tests lock you into a design. Test whatever the hell you want. But I never yell at people for, like, you didn't write tests, right? I yell at people if it's like, hey, this code's a broken fucking mess. Did you even test it? Doesn't mean did you even write a test. It means like, did you run the code? Did you run it with a few of the normal arguments? Like, does it work under normal conditions even? And even then, bugs are like in good code, like bugs are okay, whatever, we fix them. I'm way happier just fixing a few bugs than I am dealing with horribly designed bloated crap. It's fine. That's not bad. Hey, this one's actually clever. Look at this. That's actually kind of clever the way that this is done. I respect this. You got way too many structs, though, for an env this simple. And way too many helpers as well. This is cool. Wait, is this recursive? Wait, tell me this is not recursive. Yeah, it's not recursive. Good. See, this is even done correctly. I was like, oh no, it's gonna be shitty recursive, but it's not. He did it correctly. Frontier cell. This I don't understand. And I'm not going to at this hour. For the obs. 3 channels. I don't know how I feel about that. That might be okay. Who's slandering DP? What? Dynamic pro... No. I was just looking whether the implementation was recursive. You don't need the implementation to be recursive, even if it's like a DFS. If it was DP, I didn't notice. Is that how you implement a flood fill? Is it not just like a BFS? Pretty sure it's just a BFS. Right feet. Now we're getting into the territory where I start suspecting bloat. Okay, this is non-trivial for me to figure out how bloated stuff is. But I am pretty confident that at least I did not introduce any more bloat to this in my patching. So I'm probably going to add this to the list of M's that I try to refactor for release if it's good. And I know that this one is fine. I just have to make sure it didn't break our nice env. Nice. I should commit all of this so I don't lose it. Berkeley, Caltech, a few others in Cali. Caltech is cool. I don't think that they do much in CS. $35,000 insertions. 6,900 deletions. Ugh. I don't know how resources got into here. I'm going to push this for now. I'm not going to push the core changes yet. But I'm going to push all the env changes because those are the ones that are annoying to replicate. Why just because of a name? Wish Docker 8 less RAM. You don't need you don't even need a Docker for our stuff, honestly. You do need a working CUDA setup though, which typically people just get NVIDIA's Docker image so they don't have to set up CUDA dev tools. Whatever though. Okay. That was a lot. Like 9 hours stream today or something. We have more to do tomorrow. Hang on, where's my stream window? Alright, so we have more to do tomorrow. We got pretty much all the M's settled. There's some rendering stuff I want to fix with turn-based envs. There are some additional checks. But generally, this should be okay. Tomorrow we will deal with the 500 lines of bloat that have crept into here, mostly onto the CPU eval. I don't even know what this is. Basically, nothing else should have been screwed with. Yeah, this is still about the same. So pretty much all the bloat just went right into here. That's easy enough to fix. So we'll sort this out tomorrow. And then hopefully we should have pre-release by Monday. Bet we already have that set up. Oh, you know, there's one last thing I need to do tonight. You're using medium? Because it's faster. Codex is slow as hell. I'm sick of all the dumb model hopping. This is fine. This is fine. If something is like 10x faster, I'll try that. And no, not the OpenAI one that's going to be $1 billion. Yeah, I can take the vast instance down. Oh, man. Or we spend even more money on this. Which doesn't... Do they seriously censor that in chat? That's not against toss, is it? Apparently, it's gray zone. It's not on YouTube. Alright, whatever. Okay. We're gonna call this a day. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get the rest of this release done. Yeah, thank y'all. Start the Puffer on GitHub. Join discord.gg/Puffer if you're interested. I'm gonna get some sleep.